If you're coming to Washington, D.C. in 2019, I've got some important information you should know about. Hello, welcome to Trip Hacks DC. My name is Rob. I'm a tour guide here in the nation's capital. If you're coming to Washington, D.C. and you're looking for the best tips, tricks, and hacks for exploring the city, make sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell notification icon so that you don't miss any future videos. And if you're interested in signing up for a Trip Hacks DC tour, head on over to triphacksdc.com afterwards to see the tours that we offer. Before we start, I want to confirm that, yes, I have a new set. The flags that appeared in the first 2 years of Trip Hacks DC videos have been officially retired. And I'm curious to know what you think about the new set. So leave a comment and let me know if you like it. But back to the topic. One of the tough things about making videos about Washington, D.C. is that things are constantly changing. And with a video, you can't just go back and update it like you could with a blog post or an article. So, if you're coming to Washington, D.C. in 2019, or you know someone who is, make sure you send them this video so they have the most recent information. With that said, here are 9 pieces of important information that you need to know for 2019. So, let's get started. Number 1. Trip Hacks DC tours. I've been getting a bunch of emails about summer tours this year. When I started Trip Hacks DC, it was exclusively private tours, which meant it was just you and me seeing the sights on the National Mall. And that worked out great, but I also realized that private tour was not for everybody. So last year, I launched the Monumental Trivia at Twilight tour, and this year, I've got a few more people to help me lead it, which means I'm not the only person giving Trip Hacks DC tours anymore. Monumental Trivia is a public tour, which means that you pay per person rather than for the entire group. I am leading this tour on Saturday evenings throughout the summer, and my other guides will be leading it on the other days of the week. And I promise that they are just as good, if not better, than I am. So don't stress out too much if Saturday night does not work for you. Of course, I will also continue to lead private tours throughout the summer. So check out triphacksdc.com/tours to see what's coming up. Number 2, the Washington Monument. In my Q&A video from earlier this year, I said that the National Park Service was advertising spring on their website for the opening of the Washington Monument. And unfortunately, that is not going to happen. So now it looks like August is the earliest possible opening date for the Washington Monument. But remember that this is only an estimate and it could always change again. Sorry to disappoint. Number 3. Metro construction. There is going to be a major metro shutdown this summer. The yellow and blue lines are going to be completely closed south of Reagan National Airport from about Memorial Day weekend through September. This is especially important to know if you are considering staying in Old Town Alexandria for your trip. Even though Old Town is a great area and it's one of my recommended areas, I can't recommend it this summer. The good news is that there are still plenty of other great areas where you can stay. You can check out the video description for my video about them, or just head on over to triphacksdc.com/hotels. Number 4, the Smithsonian Folklife Festival. I am really bummed about this one, because the Folklife Festival is one of my personal favorite things to do in DC. It usually runs for about 2 weeks and highlights cultures from all around the world. But in 2019, it's only going to be for 2 days, June 29th and June 30th. The official reason is because there were a number of delays and planning issues, most likely as a result of the historically long government shutdown that happened last December and January. Number 5, Circulator bus. On a more positive note, the Circulator bus is now completely free. In February, the Washington, D.C. Mayor, Muriel Bowser, announced that Circulator would be completely free indefinitely. I made a few previous videos about using the Circulator. And if you remember, rides used to cost $1, and you could pay either with a dollar bill or a Smart Trip card. Now they're free. No Smart Trip or cash required. That said, the City Council is currently debating about whether this is the right move. So it's not guaranteed that it's going to be free for the entire rest of the year. So be sure to double check the Circulator website before your trip. And one more Circulator update is that they're launching a Zoo Express bus that'll take you from the Woodley Park Station straight up to the zoo entrance. That's going to run from right now through September. Number 6. The Spy Museum. If you visited DC in the past, then you might have checked out the International Spy Museum at their location downtown near the Capital One Arena. This winter, the Spy Museum started the process of moving to their brand new, beautiful location in L'Enfant Plaza. It's bigger and I think going to provide a much better experience for visitors. So if you do want to go to the Spy Museum this year, make sure to double check to make sure you're going to the right location. Number 7. Scooters. Electric scooters are seemingly everywhere in 2019. If you live in a city, you already know exactly what I'm talking about. There are scooters from a whole bunch of different companies. Bird, Lime, Jump, Lyft, and others. For each scooter company, you download their app, create an account, put in your credit card information, and then you can be off and riding. You pay for the scooters, an unlock fee, and then again, per minute. I don't really use scooters. They're expensive, and I much prefer riding around on Capital Bike Share. But they're also sort of a fun novelty, so if you're on vacation and you don't really care about the price, then yeah, go ahead. One important thing to note is that the scooters are technically not allowed outside of their service area. And the National Mall is not included in the service area for any of these companies. Of course, when you're walking around the National Mall, you're going to see scooters littered everywhere. As far as I know, the scooter companies are not enforcing their service areas and charging people fines if they break their rules. But who knows if this is still going to be the case in a week, a month, a year, or ever. So just be aware of this if you're planning on using them around the National Mall. Number 8, the Jefferson Memorial. When you visit the Jefferson Memorial this year, you're going to find a big construction zone around the monument. They are working on remediating what's called biofilm that is growing on top of the dome. From a distance, it just looks like dirt, but it's actually a microscopic organism that attaches itself to the stone, which makes it a whole lot more difficult to clean up than dirt. They did a successful test a few years ago, which is why there's one spot that looks nice and squeaky clean. And now they're gonna do the rest. And number 9, the Air and Space Museum. The Air and Space Museum is one of, if not the most popular museums in town. And they just started a major, and I'm talking major, renovation that will last for the next several years. Now I've already had some folks who've come on my tour this year who went to the museum and were unaware that the renovation was happening. And they were kind of disappointed because the museum experience was not so great. During the renovation, exhibits will be closed on a rolling basis, and it will kind of feel like you're in a construction zone. I'm not saying that means you shouldn't go. All I'm saying is that it means you should reset your expectations. I think Air and Space is going to be amazing when the renovation is finished in a few years. But until then, we're just gonna have to deal with it. And that's it. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it helpful, you can subscribe to this channel by clicking on the Trip Packs DC logo, which is popping up right now at the bottom of the screen. And if you're coming to DC and want to sign up for a Trip Packs DC tour, you can click on the Capitol Dome on the left side of my head. That'll send you over to trippacksdc.com, where you can see all of the tours that we offer. Enjoy your trip!